Alex, 36 male, was my college sweetheart. He was dreamy-eyed and so buff and strong that he always liked to carry me around to tease me. We had married in a quaint church ceremony and had been together for 10 years, and our relationship was the envy of all our friends. I, 36 female, loved Alex with all my heart, and in my head, I saw myself with him till we were old and gray. Alex was a very good husband. He always demonstrated a strong commitment to our marriage and family. He was always loyal, faithful, and dependable, and he always effortlessly prioritized my needs and happiness. He treated me with respect, consideration, and compassion, and went out of his way to make me feel loved and appreciated. He listened to my concerns and was always willing to lend a helping hand. Alex was supportive of my goals and aspirations. He encouraged me to pursue my dreams and offered his guidance and assistance whenever needed. He was patient and understanding, and always strived to understand my perspective. Alex was a truthful man and transparent in his communication with me. He didn't keep secrets or hide important information from me. He valued open and honest communication and was always willing to have difficult conversations when necessary. I was very proud of my choice of a husband and appreciated his stability, although I wished he would spice things up in the bedroom a little bit more. One day I met a man named Ethan, 22 male, at a business conference. We hit it off immediately, and I was drawn to Ethan's charisma and charm. We exchanged numbers and were having regular phone conversations and texts before long. I knew I shouldn't be talking to another man this way, but I couldn't help myself. Things between Ethan and me escalated quickly. We started meeting secretly, and before long, we were having an affair. I felt guilty whenever I saw Ethan, but I couldn't resist him. He made me feel alive and desired in a way that Alex hadn't in a long time. I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I couldn't stop. I was trapped in a web of lies and deceit consuming my every thought. I loved Alex, but I also loved Ethan. Eventually, Alex found out about my affair with Ethan. He was devastated and couldn't understand why I would do something like that. I tried to explain that I was unhappy in our marriage, and that Ethan made me feel alive again, but Alex was too hurt to listen. He only knew of the emotional aspect of our affair. Had he known of the physical aspect, I shudder to think what would have been the outcome. Alex asked me to end the affair and work on our marriage, but I was unsure whether that was what I wanted. I didn't tell him that, of course, but I was torn between my love for Alex and my feelings for Ethan. I didn't want to hurt anyone, but I didn't know how to decide. One day I was walking when I saw an old couple holding hands. They looked so happy and content. I couldn't help but feel envious. I realized that what I had with Alex was special, and that I didn't want to lose it. I called Alex and asked to meet with him. We sat down and had a long conversation about our marriage. I was honest with Alex about how I had been feeling neglected and unhappy, and he listened. He told me that he loved me and wanted to work on things with me, but I needed to end things with Ethan. I knew that this was the right thing to do. I called Ethan and I told him that it was over. He was devastated, but he understood. I knew I had deeply hurt both men, but I was ready to start working on my marriage. Over the next few months, Alex and I worked on our relationship. We went to counseling and learned how to communicate better with each other. We went on dates and started doing the things we used to do when we were first together. I realized that I had taken Alex for granted, and that he was the man I truly loved. Eventually, Alex forgave me for my affair, and we moved on from the past. We were closer than ever, and I knew I had made the right decision to choose Alex over Ethan. I realized that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and that sometimes the things we are looking for are right in front of us. Alex and I were at peaks that our relationship had never gotten to. I was used to getting bouquets of roses delivered to my workplace in our home, with very cute signed cards from him and passionate shows of his love. Why did I still crave Ethan's presence if everything was going so perfectly? I was not supposed to be thinking of him, let alone plotting how I would reach him once again. My spirit was strong, but my flesh was weak. I called Ethan and I told him I loved him, and that although it was very risky business, we should resume our stuff on the side. He told me he had missed me too, and we resumed our affair with a passion never seen before. Alex did not suspect a thing, and I always covered my tracks, both physically and virtually. He was due for a week-long trip to another state, and I excitedly told Ethan about it, as he would finally be able to spend unlimited time with me in my house. The day arrived, and a weepy Alex told me how he would miss me, and I cried too, but inside I was happy to be alone. Less than 30 minutes after he left, Ethan popped into our house with all smiles. I had not even uttered words of greeting when he scooped me up and walked around looking for the bedroom. I heard some sounds from downstairs, but I ignored them, as I was in an accelerated state of pleasure tangled up with Ethan. Not 2 minutes after the sound, Alex appeared at the doorway of our room and was so shocked to find me with another man in our marital bed. How could you? I trusted you. I forgave you. I gave you everything, absolutely everything. That was what Alex shouted before he tore down the stairs. I was speechless, but trying to cover myself with a sheet while I ran down the stairs after him, explaining that it was not what it looked like. I never caught up to him. An hour later, he sent me a text telling me to leave his house. I chased Ethan out immediately and began to pack my things while deciding where I would go. I decided to go back to my mother's. I tried to text and call Alex 1,000,000 times, but he did not respond. A week later, he sent my mother's place divorce papers. He didn't talk, message, offer to try therapy, or help me resolve my dilemma, but instead, he jumped straight to divorce, and it made me wonder how much I even mattered to him in the first place. To make matters worse, my mother had insisted upon a prenup, so our income and assets bought within marriage were bought under each other's names, which meant Alex got 80% of our properties, because he was the bigger earner by far. I had almost nothing to my name and no place to live. I could not even claim child support because we did not successfully conceive, despite our many attempts. I do not know how I would survive like this. Life is not fair. Story 2. When I was in college, 2005, I played an online game and became good friends with a lot of people I played with. I met several of them in person and stayed friends with a few even after we stopped playing the game together. They were there for me during a really difficult period in my life. Got out of a bad relationship, had to transfer schools, and moved across the country. And even though it was just an online game, I considered them my best friends at the time. Over the years, I've lost touch with all of them, but I'm still Facebook friends with some of them and enjoy seeing their updates. Justin was one of my closest online gaming friends. We called each other to catch up and talk a couple times a week for years. Sometimes we talked for hours. Honestly, sometimes it was late at night and sometimes we got flirtatious. When one of us was in a relationship, though, there wasn't any flirting. We respected each other's relationships. We only met in person once, when I was on a road trip with friends and he came to meet me and my friends for a soda at McDonald's. Around 2012, Justin started dating a new girl, and we continued to keep in touch. We immediately stopped any of the flirty banter in our conversations. I didn't want to screw up his new relationship. Then, Justin called me in 2013 and told me that I was on a speakerphone. His girlfriend was there, and she wanted to talk to me. She told me she wasn't comfortable with our close friendship and thought that I was trying to get between her and Justin. Justin said he thought it was best if we didn't talk anymore. I told him that I didn't think it was fair for her to accuse me of trying to get between them when I hadn't done anything like that. But if it was what they wanted, I'd respect their wishes. I was offended that I had been accused of being a homewrecker and hurt that I'd lost a good friend of 8 years, but life goes on. A couple years later, 2015, I met my now husband. We dated, fell in love, got married, had kids, etc. Out of the blue in March of this year, Justin sent me an email and asked if I wanted to start playing with him again. It was right around the start of lockdown, and seemed like a great time to get back into online gaming. So, I did. We chatted on voice chat for an hour or so and got caught up in each other's lives. I told him all about my husband, my kids, my new job, and how my family was doing. Justin was happy for me. He said he was still dating the same girl, but they were taking some time apart to figure out if they wanted to stay together. I told him I hoped they were able to work it out if they cared for each other. I asked about his brother, his nephews, his job, etc. We played together for a few weeks, but with kids and work, it's hard for me to find time to game like I used to, so it was only a few hours here and there. My husband asked to borrow my computer one day because he needed the CD drive and his computer didn't have one, so I told him sure. When he was done, he confronted me and asked why I had been talking to this guy Justin so much and why Justin had given me his phone number. I asked if he read my chat messages on my computer, and he said yes. It popped up on the screen when he opened my computer, and he got suspicious when he saw some guy messaging me his phone number, so he read our entire chat history. I told my husband I didn't appreciate him snooping in my personal messages and that I felt it was an invasion of privacy. I've never snooped in his phone or anything, but I also didn't have anything to hide. I told him Justin was an old friend I used to game with, and we'd started playing together again. There was nothing in me and Justin's chat messages I wouldn't want my husband to see anyway. Just us talking about each other's days, talking about game stuff, the weather, etc. My husband said Justin seemed unstable and seemed like he was into me. He thought it was weird Justin gave me his number. I tried to explain that it isn't that weird to have the phone number of people you game with, so you can let them know if you get disconnected or your internet goes out. I still have the numbers of most of my old gaming friends in my phone, not just Justin's. I don't appreciate my husband snooping, but I do understand why he did it, and we talked about it and our personal device boundaries. We didn't exactly fight about it, but it was tense and uncomfortable. I had the same feeling during the tense conversation with my husband that I'd had when Justin and his girlfriend called me 7 years ago. Like I was being accused of wrecking someone's relationship, except this time it was mine. I've only been accused of cheating home wrecking like that twice in my life, and both times involved Justin. I didn't think it was fair either time. I hadn't done anything wrong, but it was a terrible feeling both times. I love my husband and don't want to jeopardize our relationship. I decided my husband's trust in our family weren't worth reconnecting with an old friend. Justin and I weren't even playing together or talking all that much. I deleted him from my friends list without saying anything to him and started playing the game on a different character. To be clear, my husband didn't make me do this, and I didn't even tell him that I took those steps. I think I was worried it would make it look like my husband was right about something fishy going on. So I just quietly did it to prevent future problems, and it hasn't come up again. This was a few months ago, and I still feel guilty about ghosting Justin, although he kind of did the same thing to me. He was a good friend for a long time. I enjoyed talking to him again, and part of me would like to keep in touch. I go back and forth between feeling that it isn't worth causing problems with my husband and feeling like I should be able to have male friends without him getting jealous. What should I do? Should I reach back out to Justin? Should I talk to my husband about this more? I'm worried that if I talk about Justin with my husband again, it'll make him suspicious that something is going on between us. And while I don't think there was anything resembling cheating in my friendship with Justin, I acknowledge we had chemistry in the past, and this issue seems to keep coming up with our partners. So maybe it is better we stay out of each other's lives. Comments. To be honest, I have many friends that are girls through either work or social life. But what I will not, out of respect for my girlfriend, is spend hours talking to them, and I would never evoke that privacy act against my girlfriend. That is just wrong, and that's why your husband doesn't trust you. Ask yourself, is Justin more important to you than your marriage, your kids, your husband? Do you really need to feel guilty about ghosting the friend? He cut ties with you for years when his girlfriend asked him to. He probably would have ghosted you again in a couple weeks when he gets back with the girlfriend.